Ethan Graves had never been late for his janitorial shift at the Sterling Tower. He started every morning at 5 a.m., scrubbing the marble lobby floors until they gleamed like a mirror. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, barely. He was a single dad to a 10-year-old girl named Lily, whose wide eyes and endless questions kept him grounded. After her mother walked out when Lily was just a toddler, Ethan swore he'd do whatever it took to give her a stable life. He had no dreams of wealth or fame, only of keeping the lights on, food on the table, and Lily's smile intact. That's why, when the elevator doors opened one early Monday morning to reveal Victoria Sterling herself, the elusive CEO of Sterling Industries, Ethan nearly dropped his mop. She was the kind of woman who never came down to the lobby without a purpose, and certainly not at dawn. Her navy blue suit looked like it cost more than his entire month's wages, and her perfectly styled hair didn't move as she strode across the marble. Mr. Graves? She asked without preamble. He blinked. Yes, ma'am. She lowered her voice. I need a favor, a personal one, and it comes with generous compensation. Every instinct told him to say no. People like Victoria Sterling didn't talk to janitors unless they needed something unusual. But the word compensation echoed in his mind, along with the unopened envelope from Lily's school about an upcoming tuition increase. I'm listening, he said cautiously. Victoria glanced around to make sure no one was watching. I have a high-profile investors gala in 2 weeks. My board is pushing me to appear. Settled, engaged. In fact, they think it makes me look more stable, more trustworthy as the face of the company. But I don't have time for an actual relationship, so I need someone to pose as my fiancé, just for the evening. Smile, dance, make small talk, nothing more. Ethan frowned. Why me? Her lips curved into a small, calculated smile. Because you're clean-cut, well-spoken, and I've seen you talk to the tenants here. You know how to carry yourself, and more importantly, you're not in my social circle. No one will suspect anything. He hesitated, but she added, $5,000 for one night. $5,000 for a janitor making $13 an hour. It was an impossible number to ignore. All right, he said finally, but Lily stays out of it. Victoria nodded. Of course, this is just business. Over the next week, she had him fitted for a tailored suit, coached on etiquette, and even arranged for a professional watch and cufflinks to complete the image. Ethan felt ridiculous, like a kid wearing his dad's clothes. But he reminded himself this was for Lily. By the time the gala night came, Ethan was barely recognizable. As they walked into the ballroom, arm in arm, cameras flashed from every direction. Investors leaned in to meet the lucky man, and Victoria played her role flawlessly, the picture of a successful CEO in love. Ethan was surprised at how natural it felt. He smiled, made polite conversation, even danced with her once. Though his heart pounded, he thought the night was going smoothly, until he noticed a man in a gray suit watching him from across the room. The man wasn't mingling, wasn't smiling. He was studying Ethan with an intensity that made his skin crawl. When Ethan excused himself to get some air, the man followed. You're not who you say you are, the man said flatly as soon as they were alone in the corridor. Ethan stiffened. I'm exactly who I say I am, Victoria's fiancé. The man's smile was thin and humorless. Sure you are. I know who you really are, Graves, and I know why you're here. But she doesn't, does she? Before Ethan could respond, the man slipped a folded piece of paper into his jacket pocket and walked away. Ethan pulled it out with shaking hands. It was a photograph of Lily, and scrawled in block letters across the bottom, if you care about her, walk away before it's too late. The rest of the evening was a blur. Ethan forced himself to stay by Victoria's side, but his mind was racing. Who was that man? How did he know Lily's name, let alone what she looked like? And what did too late mean? Asterisk, when the gala ended, Victoria seemed pleased. You were perfect, she said as they got into her chauffeured car. I may even need you for another event next month. Asterisk, Ethan forced a tight smile. We'll see. Asterisk, that night, he barely slept. Every creak in the apartment made him think someone was outside Lily's door. By morning, he'd decided he had to tell Victoria about the threat. Asterisk, but when he arrived at Sterling Tower, she wasn't in her office. Her assistant told him she'd taken the morning off. Family emergency. Asterisk, that's when his phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Check your kitchen window. Heart pounding, Ethan ran home. When he stepped into the kitchen, his blood ran cold. Asterisk, on the counter was Lily's favorite stuffed bunny. The one she never took to school. Asterisk, and tucked into its arms was another note. Asterisk, she's safer with us. Do exactly as we say. Ethan's legs nearly buckled as he read the note again, the words burning into his mind. Safer with us. Asterisk, his first instinct was to call the police, but whoever had taken Lily had been inside his home without forcing a lock. They knew where he lived, what she loved, and they'd been close enough to touch her toys. If they could get to her once, they could do it again. His phone buzzed before he could move. Unknown number. No cops. No Sterling. Do what you're told, and she lives. Asterisk, Ethan's vision narrowed. His heart was hammering so hard it hurt, but every muscle in his body locked into one purpose. Get Lily back. The next message came seconds later. Meet at Pierre 7 warehouse. Alone. 1 hour. Asterisk, Ethan didn't think. He grabbed his jacket and ran. The docks were nearly deserted when he arrived. The air smelled of rust and salt, and the wind rattled loose metal sheets on the abandoned buildings. He saw the man from the gala waiting in front of an old corrugated warehouse, hands in his pockets, like he had all the time in the world. Asterisk, where is she? Ethan demanded, his voice breaking. Asterisk, the man's smile was slow, cold. She's safe, for now, but that depends on you. Asterisk, what do you want from me? Asterisk, you've gotten close to Victoria Sterling, the man said. Closer than anyone outside her board has been in years. We need information. Specifically, the access codes to her private research wing. Asterisk, Ethan shook his head in disbelief. Research wing. I don't know anything about Asterisk. You will. The man's eyes glinted. She trusts you now. She'll invite you in. When she does, you get the codes. You send them to us. And your daughter comes home. Asterisk, Ethan's stomach turned. You're asking me to rob her. Asterisk, the man's tone sharpened. I'm asking you to choose between some rich woman's secrets and your child's life. Asterisk, Ethan wanted to lunge at him, to tear the truth out of him by force. But the man stepped back toward the warehouse and called over his shoulder. You've got 3 days. Fail, and she disappears forever. The door slammed shut. Asterisk, for the next 24 hours, Ethan couldn't think straight. He paced his apartment, tried calling Lily's friends' parents, even drove past her school, in case she'd been dropped off. Nothing. Asterisk, by the second day. He made a choice. He wasn't going to betray Victoria, but he needed her help. Asterisk, when he arrived at Sterling Tower, Victoria was already in her office, looking more tense than he'd ever seen her. Asterisk, we need to talk, Ethan said, closing the door behind him. Asterisk, her eyes narrowed. About what? Asterisk, about my daughter. She's been taken. Asterisk, for a moment, Victoria's mask slipped. Surprise, then something like fear. What do you mean taken? Asterisk, Ethan explained everything. The man at the gala, the notes, the meeting at the pier. By the time he finished, Victoria was pacing the room, her heels clicking against the marble. Asterisk, there after the biotech project, she muttered, half to herself. The codes they want would give them access to years of classified research. And it's not just about money. If that technology is stolen, it could be weaponized. Asterisk. Ethan stared at her. So this is your fault? Asterisk. She met his gaze sharply. No, Mr. Graves. It's their fault. But I can fix it, if you trust me. Asterisk. He almost laughed at that. Trust you? I barely know you. Asterisk. You know enough to realize I'm not the kind of woman who leaves a child in danger, she said firmly. We're going to get her back, but you'll have to play along with their plan, until we turn it against them. The next 3 days were a blur of whispered strategy and hidden preparations. Victoria used her corporate security team off the books to trace the messages to a burner phone that pinged near the docks. She had them sweep the area with drones, but the kidnappers kept moving. Asterisk. On the final night, she invited Ethan to a private tour of the research wing, just as the kidnappers had predicted. Ethan wore a tiny transmitter in his watch, hidden under the cufflinks she'd given him for the gala. Asterisk. As they walked through the sleek white corridors, Victoria played her role, pointing out labs and security features, while Ethan nodded for the benefit of the hidden cameras. He recited the access codes aloud, as instructed, knowing every word was being intercepted by her team. Asterisk. When the kidnappers received the message, they sent the final text. Pier 7, midnight. Alone. The warehouse was dark except for a single hanging light. Lily was there, tied to a chair, but unharmed, her eyes wide when she saw her dad. Asterisk. Daddy. Asterisk. Ethan took a step forward, but the man from the gala raised a gun. Not so fast. First, you confirm the codes work.